Kind of going along that theme, talk about Hood, talk about some good generals, talk about some not so good generals, at the risk of alienating at least somebody in the room, which would be a good thing, I think. Who were the worst generals in each theater? Garry, you want to go first?
Yeah, this is tough because there are, especially early in the war, man, until they got them all weeded out, but I hold a personal grudge against a couple of them. In the East, it has to be James Ledley. I just, man, can't get over this guy. It's one thing to not be a good general. It's another to be a drunk or to drink when you're stressed out. It's a bad combination when you're both of those things. And when you're given more than one chance to prove yourself, and you continue to do it, and a bunch of people die because of your, they might have died anyway, but more that die than otherwise would have because of your actions, especially at the Battle of the Crater, it's unforgivable, and he should have been dismissed or court-martialed earlier. In the West, I'll just, without even any analysis, I cannot, like you say with Johnston, I'll bring up somebody that doesn't have too many supporters, but Braxton Bragg, I can't forgive him.
I'll stick on Army Command level, and there are different reasons why I think these men, as far as Army commanders, because you can get down into Corps and division level, and we'll get lost in the weeds there because there are a few that stick out, but I mean, you can go in a million different directions. I would say Burnside is another example of someone who just was not equipped to be an Army commander, but I would say that he ranks right up there in the East. But on Army Command level in the West, and he did serve in the East, so I'll get both theaters here in one fell swoop, it's Joseph Johnston. I don't think there was anyone who commanded a Confederate army, the two primary armies, who was any worse than Joseph Johnston. He never achieved anything. It's easy to, you could throw Pemberton out there, I'll say that. But was Pemberton any worse than Johnston? I mean, Johnston really, I cannot still figure out how Johnston has all of these supporters, because he never liked to use his army. He liked to fall back and get away from the enemy. And that is so the antithesis of the Robert E. Lees and the Ulysses S. Grants and the Shermans and the Hoods. So those are my two or three.
If I have to stick to Army Command, I will go in the East with John Pope. He could not, when you actually study his only main battle at Second Manassas, it's hard to come away with somebody who had more confidence in his wrong understanding of events than him. Now, it's easy for us, I know, to look back on this, but people were telling him, no, Longstreet is coming, you're in a bad position, and yet he manages to put something like 9/10 of his army, fighting against a small percentage of the Confederate Army when he was warned that there were 30,000 Confederates coming up in one of the greatest charges of the Civil War right upon his flank. So, his tenure was exactly as long or too long as it should have been.
I'd like to amend my answer and add John Pope.